Most of you watching this video should know that Midnight Club 2 is a classic arcade racing game. Made in 2002 as a sequel to Midnight Club Street Racing in 2000, this game could really show its age at time. But that doesn't stop it from being a game remembered fondly by many. Midnight Club 2 is mostly known for its difficulty, especially around the later half of the career mode. There's no real tricks used to increase the difficulty like in some other racing games. There's no rubber banding or any items like in Mario Kart. Cars are just fast, tracks are difficult, and the traffic always seems to just hate you specifically. And now, this game is hard enough while playing it normally. But there's always been something on my mind ever since I first beat the game just a few months ago. That thought being, how far can you get in this game using a garbage tier car? So I went online and looked, and I saw some people beating endgame races with cars like the Coyote and the City Turbo, which I thought was very impressive. But there was one other car that I had my sights set on, and that car being the Emu. The Emu has always been a weird car to me ever since I first unlocked it in game. It has the worst acceleration in the game, is one of the lightest cars in the game, and is so low to the ground that on certain surfaces it will just straight up flip over if you turn too much. Even the Coyote and the City don't have these problems, so I've always considered the Emu to be the worst car in the game when playing normally. The Coyote has better acceleration and comparable handling, while other cars that you get early like the Torita have comparable top speed. So what's the point in even using the Emu? The answer is fishtailing. If you've dabbled in the Midnight Club 2 speedrunning community, or even just the community in general, you'll probably know what fishtailing is. But for those who don't know what fishtailing is, allow me to explain. Fishtailing is a technique that most cars can do to varying effectiveness. It involves swerving back and forth while using the handbrake to drift at high enough speeds to build up ludicrous amounts of speed. Fishtailing allows you to surpass your top cruising speed and even in some situations your top nitrous speed. The Emu is one of the better cars to fishtail with, along with the Lusso, Bryanston, and the Schneller. Out of all these cars, the only thing the Emu has compared to them is how early you get it. The Lusso is just the best car to fishtail with in the game, has crazy top speed naturally, is heavy, and then still has better acceleration than the Emu. The Bryanston is just a good car regardless of if you fishtail or not. And the Schneller has crazy top speed with and without fishtailing, so you don't lose as much speed while not fishtailing with it. The Emu can just fishtail better than most cars, and you get it very early. But that makes it really, really good for this challenge, as its fishtailing potential could let it get far into the game, and how early you get it lets you do as many races as possible with it. So, with the challenge set out for me, I just need a couple extra rules for clarity's sake. First rule, even though this should be obvious, I won't be changing or modifying the game files in any way. It'll just ruin the point of the challenge. So, the game's files are completely vanilla. There are no modifications whatsoever. Second rule, and the one that needs a little bit more explanation, is I will play the game locked to 60 FPS. Since Midnight Club 2 is such an old game, the game interacts weirdly with the frame rate. The frame rate of the game changes just a couple of things really, but most importantly, it affects how fast you accelerate and how much traffic spawns on the roads. This game was originally made to be played on 30 FPS because the PlayStation 2 ran at 30 FPS. But I'm not using a PlayStation 2. I'm using my computer. Therefore, I'm playing the PC version. The PC version of the game is considered by many to be harder than the PlayStation 2 version. This frame rate difference is why. Most computers can run this game at around 60 FPS or above if you have a higher end PC. So I decided to lock the game to 60 FPS for a nice blend of extra challenge and speed. First things first, I need to actually get the emu, which means I need to do a couple of races first. Moses and Steven really pose no issue, and technically aren't even a part of this challenge. I quickly beat both Moses and Steven and unlock the emu. This is where the challenge officially begins, and now I have a choice to make. Not that it necessarily matters too much. I could choose to either race Maria or Angel first. And I chose to race Angel first, just so I could have the ability to burn out for a couple extra races. Angel's first race did embarrassingly get a little close due to an unlucky bus near the end of the race, but the emu's fishtailing is already proving its worth by clutching an almost embarrassing loss. And after that, we can move on to Angel's second race. You know, after he talks some shit about his dad, of course.
Friend, the old man is losing his touch. But genetically, I am the human masterpiece. Marvel at the wonder.
Well, at least you got rid of Pops.
A couple of crashes and quite a bit of fishtailing later, I beat Angel and his goons, and almost have access to all the system mechanics now that I can burn out.
My car! Man, how am I gonna explain this one away? Time for the trust fund.
Some friendly advice, dude. Don't show your face around here again.
After tracking down the hot-headed Hispanic lady of Los Angeles and following her through the most roundabout path ever, I unlock mid-air controls, and I get to start on the second racer of the challenge. As with most racers in this game, Maria tries to talk some smack to me before the race, calling me a gringo and other names.
You ready to shine my bumper, idiota?
But none of them can really back it up, just due to how well the emu can fishtail. And it really doesn't help her that both of her races are almost perfect for the emu. Maria's first race immediately puts you on the highway, and her second race makes her take a very slow route compared to what I use. Well, one lonely race after another, Maria's defeated. And let's just hope she doesn't have an older brother to cry to about this loss. She has an older brother. Well then, guess it's time to make myself the enemy of a whole familia. After escaping the cops and beating Hector to his own race, we get to the first rainy race of the challenge. Rain is bad for every car, but with the disadvantage I've already imposed on myself, rain becomes that much worse as I'm already not on an even playing field. And now the rain really wants to weaken the emu's only good stat being handling. After beating the first unordered race of the challenge and unlocking Slipstream Turbo, I could finally start using all of the important system mechanics of Midnight Club 2. Hector's second race was a very lonely one, mostly because the cars at this point still can't keep up with the emu going at a constant 180 miles per hour. Well, like sister, like brother, however that saying goes, I guess. Slipstream Turbo is mostly going to be neglected until later, but it's nice to have nonetheless, I guess.
He won. He raced further on the edge than I did. Nothing I can do about that now. Whatever, man. You won. Look after yourself.
Getting away from Hector's death threats and insults, we get to Gina, the only racer who really swallows their pride after being beaten by this finely tuned vehicle, and they stick around to see how far this thing makes it. Gina's first race is nothing special, and neither is the second race with the bikers. And real quick, just a side note, if you want to get technical, you could say this is where the run ends, as I'm forced to use the Coheed for the bike tutorial, which is technically considered a race of Gina's in the race selector. I could edit the race file to force me to use the emu in the bike tutorial, but one, it really wouldn't make much of a difference since it's not much of a race really, and two, that would go against the rule of me not altering the game files. So if you want to be a nerd, you can go ahead and say that the furthest an emu only run could get up to is Gina Race 3, but I'm not going to count this as the run ending because that would just be lame and not interesting at all, right? After completing the motorcycle tutorial and immediately switching back to the emu, we can begin Gina's fourth race, and unsurprisingly, it's not difficult enough to stop the emu train. Since this race immediately takes you on the highway, Just like Maria, it let me build a lead that was almost impossible to lose, even in a weird car like the Emu.
I can't believe I have to say goodbye to my wheels. But this guy really rocks. Maybe I can set him up with a couple of deals. Stay cool, baby!
Ah, Dice, that head honcho, or the least of Los Angeles. You know, on my first ever playthrough of this game, I actually liked fishtailing so much that I beat Dice with the Emu. That's not to say that fishtailing is that easy to where even a new player can beat difficult races with the Emu. I think it's just more of a testament to how powerful fishtailing is as a mechanic. Kinda like how this game is designed, easy to pick up, difficult to master. I mean, either that, or I've just been godlike since day one. I don't know, take your pick. Anyways, back on track. Dice, Los Angeles champion, driver of a solid car, and he's got a reputation, so be careful.
Careful, I got a reputation.
Dice drives the Jersey XS, very nice car that basically does the opposite of what the Emu does. It has solid acceleration, solid handling, alright top speed, and it has 2 cans of nitrous. Another side note, nitrous is super important as a resource later down in the run, and the Emu's limited amount of nitrous has caused multiple issues on multiple different races. Just another reason to add why this car is garbage. Where was I? Right, Dice Race 1, drop in knowledge, reputation, yada yada. Unfortunately for old pal Dice here, both highway sections in his first race just let me completely destroy any hopes he had of dropping anything on me. The Jersey XS might be solid, but it still can't keep up with the constant 180 miles per hour of the Emu. Even in higher traffic, with just a bit of precision, the Emu can build up an insurmountable lead when given the chance, which for many races is my only chance of winning at all. Or just getting lucky at the end. After beating Dice once, he gets a little heated and says to us,
Let's not waste more of my time. Drive!
so I did exactly that. How open the start of Dice's second race is, I'm able to build up yet again another huge lead. Leads this big do let me mess up more and still win, so I haven't been too stressed with, well, any of these races really. A lead this big lets me do stuff like, I don't know, take a leisurely stroll through the hills, do some flips, and finish the race with none of the racers even on my minimap. With Los Angeles down, that's about a third of the game completed in this crap. So moving on to Paris is just the next step.
He's got some mad skills. I'll give him that.
Speed seduction in the magazine, endless pleasure in limousine. In the back shakes a tambourine, nicotine from a silver screen.
After beating Dice in the entirety of LA, we get to fly halfway across the globe to Paris. Normally, one would go to Paris for sightseeing purposes and tourism, but we have something more important here. We are after glory. We quickly find Blog in his shitty garbage car and follow him to his first race. Well, is what I would say if he didn't drag me around half of the map for 2.5 minutes. Like seriously, what's his problem? Warning for any French people watching, Blog says something very, very mean about France, and on behalf of him, I apologize deeply.
Welcome to Frogville, my son. You up for a little drive?
Anyway, Blog's shitty piece of crap car stands no chance against our shitty piece of crap car, but Stat kinda does actually. I believe this is the first proper loss of the run, but I'm not gonna let this mess up my mental state. So I restart the race and beat Blog's first race. Blog then gets a little bit angry and wants to race again, like every other racer. Seriously, is there a single racer in this game who only wants to race you once? Like the first race, Blog sucks at racing, and his car is hot garbage. So I beat him and take that junk metal off his hands. Maybe I could actually find a challenge now that Blog is out of the way. Now that Blog and his piece of junk scrap metal car are gone forever and I never have to see him again because he's banished to the depths of hell, I get a choice on who to race. And of course, the options are between two of the best fishtailing cars in the game. Sadly, I don't get to use either of them, so I just flipped a coin and fate told me to race Julie first. Now, Julie is a very mean woman and immediately called me a Yankee as soon as I flashed my high beams at her, which made me very sad.
Yankee boy, Yankee. Sorry, Yankee boy. Am I Yankee boy? It's the Yankees.
Now, obviously, I'm sobbing at this point. I could barely even see my computer screen looking at the footage in post, and my mental state was in shambles. I don't think I'll be able to beat... What do you mean I already won? Really? Huh. I thought with all that insulting that maybe Julie would pose a little problem at least? I guess not. Well, I mean, I guess I'll just beat her second race easily then. One and done, right? First try. Here we go. Oh, well, damn. I guess she wasn't just all talk then. Okay, this might be a little problem. Julie's second race is kind of really geared against the Emu in about every way possible. It's about a million very sharp turns, a couple sections where you have to turn around or just lose a lot of speed in general, and plenty of sections with that specific terrain that the Emu just doesn't like. To top all that off, the Bryanston just has really good stats compared to the Emu, and its acceleration stat specifically really makes it hard for the Emu to win. I don't know, man. I think this might be where the run ends. I mean, it was kind of close, but the Bryanston is just so much better in every way. I might have... Wait, what? That was the only loss I had on that race? Huh. I guess Julie was really just all talk. Okay. I know I'm kind of making a scene over nothing here, but it's not really over nothing. Just trust me for a second. At this exact point in the run, I realized how much harder things are gonna get, and I hadn't been taking this run too seriously thus far. I knew at this moment I was gonna have to start taking things more seriously. Maybe put on my own music instead of just the Midnight Club 2 OST or something. I don't know. Anyways, this is getting out of hand. I'm getting off topic. Next racer, I don't want to get insulted again. Getting away from that insulting woman, Julie, we have Primo here. Now, this is one of the few racers that I was a little bit afraid of going in, just because of the Schneller's crazy top speed. Well, actually for his first race, he drives the Vortex 5, so I don't have to worry about all of his races really, just the second one. Anyways, just like Julie, Primo's first race is an unordered race, except we start in last place, which is just very rude. Also, just like Julie, there's a couple things that the Emu just doesn't really like in a race. There's a lot of traffic and tight spaces, that's the main issue. And there's also a little bit of that weird terrain that I mentioned earlier. So I don't really expect to beat this first Come on, what do you mean I won first try? I'm about to stop talking. Like, seriously, all that stuff about races getting much harder from Julie onwards and all that traffic for what? Maybe I should start praising the Emu and worshipping it. Because clearly none of these cars could do anything to stop it, right? Like, it has to just be a god amongst vehicles. I mean, look at it. It's perfect. Just ignore all of its issues. It's perfect! Anyways, second race. I mean, judging by recent races, I should be able to beat this one first try, right? Well, maybe, but Primo switched over to the Schneller for this race. So, I'm a little afraid of how this is gonna go. I get off the starting line, escape from the cops a bit, and... Oh, this race is on the highway? Never mind. My confidence just shot through the roof. All doubts I had or fear of the Schneller's speed immediately faded as I fishtailed through the entire highway. I'm not even worried about the traffic. I genuinely do this for fun when I'm bored. Although I must admit the traffic in this race is a bit annoying, but not annoying enough to stop me from winning.
Questo com'è possibile? Something is not right. I tell you now, amico mio.
You know, I really wonder if there's anyone who'll insult me as much as Julie did. If there's anyone in the game like that, I might end up bawling my eyes out and leaving a bad review on this game's unlisted Steam page. Hopefully I don't have to do that because this game is very fun, and I enjoy driving recklessly everywhere I go.
What is this? You stink! You call yourself a racer?
Okay, that's it. I'm leaving a minus rep. Once again, just like Julie, Stephane's first race is an unordered race. 3 in a row? Seriously? Also, just like Julie, I beat it first try. What is it with these racers and just copying Julie? Like, seriously, do they just like her that much? Are they stupid? No time to dwell on that thought, though. We got a race for a hamburger. A delicious, moist, and juicy hamburger. At least the large sucks, though, so this is a free hamburger. Can I get a hell yeah? America, fuck yeah, or whatever. Freedom, hamburgers, and hot dogs. Something 8 British people. Well, maybe it's not a free hamburger, as Stephane's second race is kind of annoying, just like his voice lines. Like, seriously, what is he saying in half of them?
Oh, watch this, imbecile!
This race is an example of the Emu's limitations really starting to show. This race feels almost tailor-made to screw over cars that like fishtailing, even though I doubt the developers really knew about this anyways. There's plenty of traffic, sharp turns, weird terrain, all that crap. It just makes this race horrible. Oh, did I mention that it's in the rain? This race took me a hot minute to beat, but nothing too troubling really. Just an example of what's to come later. From now on, including this race, I'll start showing races that gave me issues in full, as they'll probably be the most interesting to watch. I won't show every single race, although that should have been obvious from how I showed the entirety of LA, as I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. Anyways, here we go. That one took me a bit, but I keep moving. Stefan gives up his romance for at least a week, which I don't get why he would do that unless he hates himself. But to each their own, I guess. Me personally, I'm gonna go eat that hamburger. Well, I would have gotten a hamburger if there wasn't a convict we had to race. After spending the next 2 minutes following this Algerian fellow, we come face to face with the most handsome man gaming has ever seen. Just look at those ears and that lovely nose. Anyway, for Reed races, we gotta do this in the catacombs, which kinda sucks, but is also kinda nice, because Fareed sucks ass at driving in the catacombs, which is immediately apparent as I first try the race. But I did notice something at the end of this race. Jumps are gonna be a little bit of a problem, especially if there's more than one. But I don't need to worry about that right now, because Fareed is sending me death threats for a second. Oh shit, it's the cops. This one is a little more annoying than escaping the cops for Hector's race, just because of all the verticality it bears. But it's not too much of an issue. I escape the cops and Fareed gives me this stat for some reason. I never beat a second race. Take those, I guess? Not that I'll be using it anyways. I guess I could go race Ian now, though. Why is Fareed laughing at me? Why is there another race on the loading screen? Who is Owen? I mean, I guess I'll race him, but most of this race is on the highway, so it shouldn't be too hard, right? Well, actually, yeah, it wasn't too difficult. It was actually pretty fun. Hell, I might become a convict just to race this guy again. 10 out of 10. Aussie time! This guy drives one of my favorite cars when I'm not fishtailing. But I can't even use it, even if I do win it from him. Oh well. First race has an annoying ending, but that's about it. The only loss I had that wasn't just me restarting over tiny mistakes, because I really like my runs looking clean, was a run where I actually got scammed. That's right, the literal convict didn't rob me of a win. The random ass Aussie kid scammed me. 0.02 seconds faster. Fucking 0.02. Of course I didn't let this shake me up and immediately beat it next attempt. Second race. This one has an annoying everything. And yes, it's because of the bikes. Outside of the bikes, this race was fine. There's just nothing really to talk about with this guy. His voice lines are kind of funny sometimes, but that's about it.
You smash me up again and I'll have you for lunch!
Third race, Ian switches over to the bike. He races it to a somewhat effective degree. Holy shit, I'm running out of things to say. Quick, I need something to retain viewer attention. Subway Surfers footage? No, that's gotta be outdated by now. About Minecraft parkour gameplay? Maybe, but I suck ass at parkour. What about Family Guy clips? It's perfect. I could finally have perfect viewer retention. Oh, third race is done. Well, I don't have to make shitty jokes about Zoomer attention span anymore, at least. Not that many of them will be watching this anyways. And ignoring how I'm part of that generation. Moving on!
Look here, mate. Partha used to be quite a looker. Nowadays she looks a little rough. Reckon you'd still throw her a bone though, wouldn't ya?
Okay, Ian needs to shut his fucking trap. I will not be having intercourse with this French woman. I can't even understand half of her voice lines anyways. I don't speak French. I mean, maybe she's related to Stefan though. They both have that unintelligible accent. I don't think it's too far-fetched of a theory. Okay. Serious mode for a second. I won't sugarcoat it. This first race gave me huge problems. It took me like an entire day to beat this godforsaken race. This race has to be tailor-made to screw over the Emu specifically. So many sharp turns, so much verticality, more jumps than necessary. And to top it all off, the Moto Prego is just in a complete different tier than the Emu. I cannot tell you how many times I've made it all the way through the race just to miss the final jump, or to lose my entire lead on the ramps at the end, or to not even make it to the final jump just because the rest of the race was that bad, or every other reason I lost this race. I didn't record my pop-off when I initially beat this race, or any of the races, as a matter of fact. The best I have is this Discord message I sent to my friend after I beat it. Note that when I said all morning, I meant that I had been up since midnight grinding this race. Oh, I get it, Midnight Club 2, because it keeps me up at midnight grinding dumb fucking challenges. At this point of the career mode, Emu's limitations actually start making inoptimal routes optimal. Okay, you know what, maybe this needs a quick explanation, so really quickly, here's an example from this race. At the start of Parfai's first race, it's usually best to take this jump here, so you don't have to lose speed taking 2 sharp turns to get on the bridge. But the Emu is so bad on the terrain in this alley, and can barely make it up ramps sometimes, to where it's actually better to just keep fishtailing down this path, and take the sharp turns as best as you can. Like I said earlier, I'll be showing all the problem races in full, so enjoy this race. God knows I didn't.
I wouldn't try this. I don't think you can handle it. Hey, that's true. Go ahead and kill people. Let me see. Oh la la. So the man can get some air. Mon Dieu, how did you get that car to go so high? I wouldn't try this. I don't think you can handle it. Pretty cool, Em, but you still will lose to me. What is that crazy driver doing? Look at how high your car got. You see how it is done by moi, a professionnel? Idiot! What were you doing with that car? This one is pretty good, even I insist. Voila! I am on my way to victory now! Okay, pretend it was only luck. Still, you beat everyone.
Well, feels good to conquer a tough challenge, doesn't it? Oh wait, shit, she still has another race, never mind. Fuck. Christ, man, I gotta go through that pain again? Shouldn't she be so embarrassed that her Tokyo-level vehicle lost to the 3rd car in the game? Shouldn't she be crying about how she used to be famous or something and then just, like, go home out of shame? I mean, if someone pulled up to me and beat me with crap like the Emu, I'd go home and cry, but that's just me, I guess. I mean, just look at the stats. The Emu is inferior in literally every way. I mean, except for fishtailing, of course. But we don't know if that was an intended feature or not, so let's just ignore that. Wait, what do you mean I beat her second race easily? Fuck, I should stop going on these tangents, dude. I mean, I just missed an entire race by talking about how shit the Emu is. Well, I guess it wasn't that important if I beat it first try, right? Anyways, Tokyo is up next, where Gina gets robbed like an idiot. Everyone point and laugh at her. Point and laugh at Parfait 2 for losing to this crap. As a matter of fact, everyone in Paris laugh at them for managing to lose to the Emu.
I'm your DJ. Here we go.
Welcome to Japan, home of the actual Midnight Club, and I'm not talking about this dinky little game right here. After Parfait's embarrassing loss to this hunk of junk we call a car, we give our Gina, the Vortex 5 we won from Primo. But now she's crying in our ear because some asshole named Ricky stole her wheels. Well, I guess it's time for us to do something that isn't just for glory's sake, I guess. Time to track down this Ricky person. Is what I would say if we weren't here for nothing but glory. I ignore Gina's pleas for help and find Xing. I follow him to the first race where I giggled to myself about how dumb his car looks. I mean, who names a car Rockstar Midnight Club 15? There's not even that many Midnight Club games to this day. I don't know, I've always found this car to be dumb. And it sucks anyway, so I don't ever have to worry about selecting it in game.
Never seen these kind of premium wheels, huh?
Well, if this is what premium wheels look like, then I don't want them, Shane. You could keep it. Well, I mean, unfortunately, I have to win them, or else I can't progress. I guess I'll take them off your hands after this time trial, I guess. And, I mean, after we beat Ichiro and win the Lusso. Oh my god, wait, the Lusso! You could keep your premium wheels, Shing. I already found mine. Well, that's what I was thinking to myself until I remember the cruel and harsh reality of this world. The unpleasant truth being that I'm not allowed to use anything but the Emu as per this challenge. Fuck my stupid Emu life. Anyways, after beating Ichiro and winning the beauty that is the Lusso XT, I finally get to race this stuck-up prick named Xing in his stupid car.
It's time for you to get the boost!
What the fuck? No, that's not what I signed up for. I already won the boost back in Paris from Blog. That shit fucking sucks. You'll just have to give me your car instead. The only loss I had on this race was one where I completely forgot how the race worked and used my nitrous before the jump on the island, and fell in the water near the end. Other than that, this race was really easy, even with how badly I performed in it. Just do your homework, kids. Don't forget to study before you test. Now that we're done with Xing's races... Actually, wait, we only raced Xing himself once. Oh my god, we found the guy who only wants to race us once! And no, Farid does not count because he fully intended to race us twice, but unfortunately he is a wanted convict, so get screwed, Farid. Side quest complete, holy crap. Okay, now that we're actually done with Xing's races and won his crappy car, we could just add it to the collection and move on to whoever's next.
Hey, Tiger, it's Gina. Oh, am I glad you're here. I'm in serious trouble with the Yakuza because that sleazeball Ricky screwed me over. You're the only one who can help. Find Kenichi as soon as you can.
Okay, Gina, I get it already. I need to find Ricky and Kenichi. I'll get on it right away. Is what I would say if... Okay, no, this time I'm actually racing Ricky. You know, Ricky's voice lines make him sound like a complete tsundere if you think about it. We just listen to some of them.
Look at you flying. But can you land it, idiot? You weren't too terrible. It's not cheating, it's just you being stupid. Okay. You did okay.
And don't forget all the times he calls you...
Baka, 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 you little baka-yano, baka. Stupid baka, baka, baka gaijin.
Total tsundere. From what I'm hearing from him, it sounds like maybe he wants a poly relationship with me and Gina. I mean, that's the tsundere trope, right? Mean to people they secretly love? I mean, he's been pretty mean to me so far, and he stole Gina's ride. I don't know, I feel like I should tell him to step off and back away. He's like 60 years old. I mean, look at him. Alright, jokes aside, Ricky Race 1. This one wasn't too difficult. I reset a couple of times, but mostly just due to bad traffic, really. And one time where physics just didn't like me that day, I guess. Other than that, Ricky just kept up his usual tsundere shtick. But like, I'm not biting, old man, neither is Gina.
This idiot and the stupid little girl will be looking at their own brains.
You hit someone, stupid!
Actually, you know what? I don't think Ricky's a tsundere. I think he's just psychotic. I need to beat his second race before he actually crushes my skull.
I gotta get out of here! Where's the time machine?
Well, I think my skull's still intact. But I probably did win myself a world of pain if he really is Yakuza. I don't know. Just next racer, I guess. Okay, now, I know some people like to joke about, oh, haha, Haley awakens certain feelings in people.
Every 10-year-old playing Midnight Club 2, when they got to Haley, their heart skipped a beat. All of a sudden, they understand their sexuality.
But I need you to hear me out. She really did awaken something in me during her races. I'm not trying to reference anything sexual. I mean, she was difficult to beat, and I had to optimize a ton. Jesus, get your mind out of the gutter. Her first race really awoke the inner labber within me, and was very painful. I was robbed so many times right at the end. I really had to dig deep and find what route was optimal for the Emu, because the normal optimal route was slow as hell for the Emu. Too many sharp turns at the beginning let the NPCs get ahead way too early, and I was never able to catch up because they didn't have to deal with the traffic I had to deal with. Now, obviously not all of them are going to take the same path that I took, but having a better start gave me just enough extra time to barely scrape out a win. It also doesn't help that the Psycho is practically just a better Emu. I mean, think about it. Better stats in literally everything, 3 nitrous cans, and a good fishtail too. Anyways, you know the drill. Enjoy the race. That one felt good to beat. Now, Haley's second race wasn't nearly as bad. I still had to optimize the route I normally take to fit the Emu better. Certain paths I normally take just don't work with the Emu due to how awful its acceleration is. I can't take any paths where you turn around, but are still faster than taking a longer way around, just because of that piss-poor acceleration stat the Emu has. But that's besides the point. I beat Haley and won the Psycho, and now I'm moving on to what I originally thought would be the theoretical end to this run. Here's where things get a bit interesting. Nico is an odd character to me. While playing normally, he never really posed any sort of challenge to me whatsoever. But in this scenario where I'm locked to nothing but the Emu, oof. What I'm trying to say is that he was really tough. His first race posed a couple of issues. First off, it's in the rain. And secondly, the beginning and end portions of this race really seem to have been designed to be favorable for Nico and his car, the Knight. The start and end of this race are just filled with things the Emu doesn't like. The beginning has verticality and terrain it doesn't like. Oh, and trains too, because why not? And the ending section is just jam-packed with sharp turns. And don't forget that all of this is done in the rain. I have to save my nitrous for the end too, as there's a jump I need nitrous to get past. So if I messed up at all during the race, it would most likely result in a restart. All of these factors combined made it a very challenging race, but Nico's car is what really pushed it over the edge for me. Remember when I said that the Jersey XS is like an inverse Emu? Yeah, that was just for the Los Angeles cars. The Knight is the actual reverse Emu. If we look at just the cars you get from the career mode, the Knight has the best acceleration out of all of them. Even though it doesn't have the best top speed for a Tokyo level car, it still makes up for it with its other stats. The Knight has solid handling and 3 cans of nitrous, meaning on tighter races this car is king. Well, except for maybe one other car. But still, this car punished any little mistake the Emu made so hard. So hard in fact that I practically had to play perfect. Especially in the second race, which I'll get into in a minute. For now, just enjoy the first race.
I lost him! No!
Now then, Nico 2 wasn't in the rain or anything, it was just plain hard. Once again, the night punished any little mistake I made, and it's made worse by how this is a timed race, which means, once again, I practically had to race perfectly in order to win. But perfect doesn't mean play as cautious as possible. I just lose to the NPCs then. I had to give it my all and do my best to avoid traffic while fishtailing wherever I could. Or, well, just get extremely lucky at the end, where it matters most. I'm not referring to anything at all here, just enjoy the second race. So, first racer to have both races shown in full. Bet you didn't expect it to be Nico of all races, huh?
Son, now it's your turn. Show me freestyle. How did you do? Not good? Let's continue.
This is where things get even more interesting. Zen was definitely a challenge, mostly just due to his vehicle alone. If you ever look around the leaderboards for Midnight Club 2, whether it be level speedruns or full game speedruns, there's one vehicle every runner uses. Well, except me, but I'm just different, okay? I don't like the bikes. There's one vehicle every runner collectively uses, the Nusagi. These levels scared me, not only when I got to them, but before I even started the challenge. My original theoretical ending to this challenge was this racer right here, Zen. The Nusagi is just the best career mode vehicle. It's the only non-fishtailer that could even match the Veloci in every stat. Need great top speed? Nusagi has some of the highest in the game. Need good acceleration? Once again, it has some of the best. Need good handling? Weight transfer saves your ass in so many situations and lets you keep your speed. The only thing you could ask for would be for it to have any nitrous at all. And even then, just be overkill since doing a wheelie already gets you to like 230 miles per hour. So why would they even do that? Oh. the fuck is balance, I guess? Anyway, serious mode. Out of the two races, Zen Race 1 was definitely the harder one, I think. The threat of at least one of them being on my ass at all times was present in almost every run, and that ending has robbed me more than any other racer in this run. That ending is completely tailor-made to fuck with cars and their slower acceleration and larger size. Even the run I'm about to show you only really won because I got lucky. Even with that luck, I still only won by little over a second. That's some tense shit right there, man. Now for the more fun race. Karma Rising is one of my favorite races, and that should probably be obvious by how I remember its name off the top of my head. It's so fun in both design and music choice. Just flying down the highway while Elements of Trance is blasting is just a great experience overall. Also, I lied. Karma Rising is definitely harder than Zen's other race. Mostly due to how long it is. How short Zen Race 1 was, there was less opportunity for the bikers to catch up. Now with Karma Rising, even with most of this race being on the highway, the bikes could definitely still catch up at any moment they wanted to. That's just how fast the vehicles are at this point. I remember back in Los Angeles where nothing could keep up with a constant 180. Good times. Now I have to sit here and listen to this bike guy quote Sun Tzu while he's beating my ass for 90% of the race.
To defeat 1,000 enemies is good, but the one who defeats himself is the greatest of warriors.
I gotta hope I get lucky in that last 10% of the race, or I'll have to endure another 30 ancient Chinese proverbs. Man, those two were difficult, but I'm just glad I surpassed my original expectations. This run could end on any of the races left and I'd be happy. Like, just for a second here, let's take a step back really quick and look at how far this piece of junk has come. The majority of the game can be beaten in the third vehicle you unlock. In any other racing game that has progression like this, that would probably be impossible. But I'm not here to say what's impossible and whatnot. I'm just here for the victorious feeling I get when I humiliate another racer in some shitty piece of crap car.
Congratulations, hallelujah, Banzai 3, you are the best. See you again on Romantic Karate.
So, this is romantic.
Kenichi, first of the big three. He could definitely kill the run right here if he wanted to. The Psycho XS is like if you took the Knight and force-fed it steroids. Crazy everything stats-wise, and it just looks awesome. Especially compared to this ugly green booger I've been driving for the past forever. Kenichi has some long races, and honestly, the way he's speaking to me is giving me flashbacks of some...
Okay, if I don't get what Gina owes me, I'll rip you apart! You're revving without a cause, Chico! You're about to become roadkill!
Wow, that was like 30 minutes ago. Alright, there's still races to talk about. Kenichi Race 1 wasn't too hard, which is kind of surprising when you look at the last two races I talked about. You'd think Japanese Mafia would pose more of a threat than some history buff biker and, I don't know, college frat boy? Well, at least Kenichi's threats are more convincing than the other two's. I mean, how much worse can you get than having the first things you say to someone be that you'll rip them apart and the Yakuza will kill your mother?
Yakuza warrior will kill your mother!
I still don't understand why he loves saying because I trained with the best, though. I mean, just because I trained with, I don't know, Cristiano Ronaldo once, that doesn't make me the same skill level as him. And it certainly doesn't mean that Kenichi is on the same level as his training partner, especially if he's losing to the Emu of all cars. No time to ponder about how Kenichi thinks he's good, but he's really not, though. We gotta talk business, and by business I mean we gotta talk about another technicality, yay! Just like the bike tutorial, technically you could also say this kills the run since we get forced into the Tokyo Cop for this race. But you're a loser if you say that. I'm not here for technicalities, I'm here for glory and prosperity, alright? After I get Gina out of trouble by killing the other racers, I can continue on the actual challenge. Fun fact, did you know the Tokyo Cop in Fishtail? If you watched my level speedruns, you'd know that, wink wink. Shameless plug aside, Kenichi wants our car. Now, normally I'd gladly give it to him because that would just mean I could switch to the Lesso or the Knight if I wanted to. But I don't have any other options besides the Emu. So, sorry buddy, get your own. Kenichi's second race, I know it's technically his third, but technically this, technically that, shut up. Kenichi's second race was a tough one. It's in the rain, and I swear the NPCs are programmed differently just for this race alone. I swear on my life, some of the racers are programmed to crash into traffic more just to screw you over, especially in the beginning. I think Kenichi overheard me talking shit about him earlier, so I guess this is my punishment for that. Outside of the race being in the rain and the shitty traffic, this race is just plain hard. There's not much else to say about it. Enjoy my suffering. fuck traffic. We should outlaw cars for everyone but me.
I will destroy this thing. I'm not interested in anything you have to say. Drive.
Okay, I'm just kidding. Let me get serious really quickly. Makoto's races were fucked up, man. This time trial alone took me multiple days. This time trial having 3 mandatory jumps made finding a route for this fucking awful. Normally you would just nitrous through all 3 of them and finish with plenty of time left. But I only have 1 can of nitrous in this shit. I ended up having to outsource the labbing and route finding to someone else because I was just stumped. I thought this was the end. And also at this point of the challenge I had done all the racers in Tokyo up to Makoto, so I was dead tired. It took a total of 3 days to beat this crap. First day, I got to the time trial, gave up and said fuck it. Second day was spent entirely labbing out the different routes, and third day was spent just grinding out the route theorized and praying that it worked. After all of that bullshit, it all culminated to this. Fuck, this shit's gonna give me PTSD of ramps and racing games. Now, Makoto's actual race wasn't much better. Even if he's suffering from too much shame, the torque still outspeeds me even while I'm fishtailing. Top it off with some rain and heavy traffic, and you have a recipe for a dead emu only run. Or so I thought. Against all odds, I had done it. I genuinely thought that after Zen, this run would be on its last couple of legs. But I proved myself wrong. I had beaten the Tokyo champion. I had beaten Makoto. And everyone else that had came before him. I had earned my chance at the final racer. Let me hear that Brain 30 cutscene one more time.
A new challenge to my pathetic existence. It has come to this. Okay, you race me then.
The emu's pathetic existence. It has come to this. 6 races to go, all 3 maps. Let's start with how the Tokyo races went, as I'll cover all of them, at least up until the run died. As this isn't about what the hardest race the emu could beat is, but rather how far the emu can make it alone in the career mode. Starting on stage 1, intake, things are already looking bleak. I mean, you saw how the velocity just leaves the emu in the dust immediately. This obviously won't be easy. You know what? Let me change up the format a bit actually. I'm gonna play the race first, and then discuss it after. I feel like that would let me talk about more aspects of the race without sounding completely insane.
Listen to the countdown. We gas on go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Damaging my car is not a concern.
Keep racing like that. Just keep doing it. Come on, give it everything you got. This guy's the champ, and you're looking pretty good against him. Keep racing.
I hope you land on the finish line, you imbecile. Why do I bother? So I hope that works out for you.
This guy's the champ, and you're looking pretty good against him. Keep racing.
I am from the harshest place on earth. You bumping me is nothing. There you go, small fry. Do something. It is pleasant to at least see you trying, lad. So I hope that worked out for you. Not only have you beaten me, but you've also ousted everybody else.
Alright, so Savo 1 done. Already a major accomplishment for the Emu, but this is only the beginning. If it wasn't obvious by how I spent the majority of the race in flames, these races are already extremely tense. A major section of this race was spent either behind most of the NPCs or struggling to keep up. I only got a sizable lead due to an extremely lucky crash near the halfway point of the race. I don't think I really need to say this, but my heart dropped when I blew up on that last portion of the highway. Seeing 4 of the 5 NPCs catch up to me made me think this attempt was a failure as well. That was until I saw that 3 of the 4 NPCs were taking a slower route on the ending. Only Savo himself and the NPC in 6 took the faster route, so I kept my composure no matter how close they were to the finish line, and managed to win by over a second. 1 down, 5 more to go. Quick side note, I won't be playing Brain 30 for all of the races of his, so enjoy some hand-picked tunes that I think fit nicely with each of the races.
Did you notice you made a wrong turn?
Stage 2, Light. This race was another one where I thought it was over. This race took me longer to beat than Makoto's time trial, and this one doesn't even have any jumps I need nitrous for. I don't remember exactly how long it took, but I believe it was around a week or so let's just lowball it and say like 5 days or so. It took me 5 days to beat this race, just due to how long and difficult it was. Once again, more on the race itself after the footage. Enjoy. one was way too close. I think Paris might be the end for this run. Real quick, before I delve into the race, I have to confess something. All of this footage you've seen thus far had been breaking one of the rules. Every single race I had done, from Moses 1 to Savo 2, had not been on 60 FPS. I forgot to lock my frame rate before doing any of this challenge, and only noticed at this point because my friend Midnight had been recently running 1v1s with me using the online patch for this game. I only noticed because we were both using the Psycho and he just had been blatantly faster than my car. So what does this mean? It means I have no clue what frame rate the game had been running at for this entire challenge. The only indicator we have to go off of is the speedometer. At 60 FPS, the Emu gets up to about 56 miles per hour after a full burnout, as shown here and back at the beginning of the video. But at 30 FPS, it gets closer to 70 miles per hour, which is also shown at the start of the video. Judging by the burnout in this race, which barely gets us to around 50 miles per hour, I believe it's safe to assume that the game had been running above 60 FPS. So, if you want to say the challenge is technically harder than initially planned due to this increased frame rate, go ahead. But after realizing this, I locked the frame rate to 30, and continued the challenge. Call it cheating if you want, but I locked it to 30 here instead of 60 just because at this point, this challenge had already taken me about a month. Close to a month and a half if you count the breaks I took, which most of them were due to Savo too. From now on, the gameplay is in 30 FPS, although it didn't really change much besides my acceleration for the rest of the races. Anyways, Savo Stage 2, Light. Heightened FPS aside, this race was still brutal. Just like the last race, I spent a lot of the race struggling to keep up or stay ahead. Starting to see a pattern? Normally the Emu excels at highway races because it can fishtail, but that doesn't matter in the slightest when your opponents can match your speed on the highways with more consistency and beat you on every single turn. By the way, when you aren't on the highway in this race, there are a lot of turns. Let's just take this section for example. After exiting the highway at the start of the race, actually I should clarify a bit more. The first time I exit the highway at the start of this race. If you missed it or just don't know why I'm clarifying this, the route I took at the start was not the intended path. Normally you're supposed to get off the highway here and travel through the bus station to get back on the highway. However, due to a developer oversight, you're allowed to stay on the highway here due to the size of the checkpoints, and it saves a bunch of time, especially when I'm in the Emu, as I could just keep fishtailing down the highway and keep my speed. Anyways, this section where I first exit the highway is horrible. It has you loop around this block right here, which is pretty tight due to all the wooden poles, and that causes me to lose a lot of speed. That's probably the worst section of this race for the Emu, but there are plenty of other sharp turns, like this one too, especially this one. Fuck this turn right here in particular. Another major problem with this race is the traffic. There's just a fuck ton. Even in 30 FPS, this race has awful traffic. Combine that with some of the verticality in this race, it'll make you wish Rockstar thought of the hill cam from Midnight Club 3 just one game earlier. Like seriously, look at the BS at the start of this race. I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me. It got to the point where it was just more consistent to hug the railing, and even then it was still awful. This race got way too close near the end. And I believe the only reason I won was, ironically enough, the traffic. This last turn on the highway always has a shitload of cars, and lucky for me, it caused a sizable pileup with the other racers, which let me build just enough of a lead to barely win by 2 seconds. I didn't even make it over the railing, that's how shitty this car is. Whatever, I don't even want to think about how much time this race took out of me.
Well, that hasn't happened before. But no doubt he will reveal his predictable inadequacies soon. Let's go to another place now.
Savo Stage 3. You all know it, you all hate it. This race was just as bad as you think it is, even on 30 FPS. This race took a damn while. Not as long as Savo 2, but still a long while. Even then, Savo 2 was mostly because the game was running on uncapped FPS, but that's unrelated. Savo 3 was just plain fucked up as usual. In true Paris race fashion, the verticality is what was killing me here. The generally agreed upon optimal route where you start by going up this hill was just not an option, as the Emu literally loses speed going up these hills, and I'm not willing to spend nitrous 10 seconds into the race where any minor mishap can cost me the whole race. So I had to think before going into this. I spent a while thinking about what path I could take, and thought that Savo's path would probably be best, as it doesn't have much verticality early, and that means I get to potentially save my nitrous for later. So I spent a while practicing his route, as the optimal one was burned into my brain at this point. You get it? Burned into my brain? Burn? Brain? Like the race's name and the song's name?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Bad joke aside, I spent a while getting Savo's route done. Once I thought I had practiced it enough and memorized, I did some attempts with it. I lost every single one. Yeah, turns out just copying another NPC's path isn't the best idea in this car. Especially when every other racer takes a completely different path, so no matter who I follow, someone else will just win instead. I was stuck. I thought of some modifications to other NPC routes, but none of them really paid off. I needed help again. Instead of outsourcing my labbing and optimization to a friend, I outsourced it to YouTube, as I know I've seen someone beat the stage with a low-class fishtailer before. I went and watched this video right here from DreamHacks of him beating Savo Stage 3 in the Cocode, and realized where I went wrong when trying to find a route. I just really didn't deviate enough from the NPC's paths. More specifically, I was following Savo's route way too closely, and I had completely forgotten that these tunnels took you to the church, and that I don't have to take this jump here. The path DreamHacks took here after going through the tunnels was pretty much just the standard optimal path from that point onward, besides taking the jump off the island because we already hit the church checkpoint. I did, however, realize though, that while this path did minimize verticality, there was a section where nitrous was mandatory. This meant that I had to race almost perfectly, or I would have to restart the whole race. Once I had this path down, it eventually all culminated into this. My heart was pounding, especially at the end. Did you see that one, Veloci? They were looking to end me. I only managed to win by less than a second. I need a second after that one. Maybe a drink too. Okay. Let's talk about the route. This route is exactly the same as the one in the DreamHack video I was just talking about. Effectively, it's Savo's route with optimizations. While the catacombs are riskier to drive through, they manage to save more time than just following where Savo goes. They both end up in the same place anyways, and I only need to beat this race once, so might as well take the faster but riskier option, right? After hitting the church checkpoint, instead of taking the jump that Savo does, we turn around to take this bridge here. From what I can tell after testing it with other cars, I feel that this is more to make the route more consistent, rather than faster. As I think this takes about the same time as taking the jump does, while being 100 times more consistent than the jump, at least for the Emu. After this, the rest of the race is pretty much just Savo's route, except for taking a different turn right at the end. You might have noticed these all throughout the run, or maybe you haven't, but tiny optimizations like that are best when you have a car with low acceleration. That way you can keep your speed for longer than taking more turns to get to the same area. Now, about this ending section. Remember how lower FPS means less traffic? Well, Rockstar decided to make all of this scripted traffic. Framerate won't affect shit here, and this part has killed many runs. Actually, scratch that. The only reason I won this race was because I got lucky. Normally the fastest racer finishes this race in about 2 minutes and 30-ish seconds. Somehow, it took the fastest NPC 2 minutes and 42 seconds to complete the race. That doesn't happen unless almost all the racers have a big crash somewhere, because only a couple of them naturally have a time over 2 minutes and 40 seconds from my testing. So I managed to beat Savo 3 with nothing but luck pretty much. Well, I guess the optimizations helped too, but let's just pretend it was all luck. Savo 3 is considered to be the hardest race by many, so does that just mean I win the challenge now? Well, maybe, I don't know. Keep watching and find out, because Savo 4 is up next. Let me preface this one by just saying this. Savo Stage 4 is long. Not the longest by any means, but definitely long. Being long comes with many problems for the Emu, as so much could go wrong with a race like this. I could potentially damage out, I could maybe not fishtail enough and throw a lead due to the Veloci's insane everything. But also, so much could go right with a race this long. Longer race means more chances for the NPCs to mess up, right? So I just need to get lucky. One problem though, I have to get lucky. Really lucky. I need multiple crashes from all of the racers to even have a chance to win. And with a mandatory jump I can't fishtail for in the first minute of the race means that I have to race almost perfectly once again to have any sort of hope to beat this race. Roll the footage. It's all luck right there. So, I didn't actually have to get as lucky as I was playing it up earlier, but that's because Rockstar was actually very kind on this one specific race. See these two areas? These two areas right here? Both of these areas have scripted traffic here. These two areas are my absolute favorite for two reasons. One just being I think it's really fun to weave between all of these cars, and two being that the NPCs almost always crash here just due to how much traffic there is. So I don't really need multiple lucky crashes from each racer. It's more like I just need a couple of crashes from each of them, as they're all pretty much guaranteed to crash twice already. I also just need to get through both of these instances of scripted traffic consistently. Luckily for me, I really know how to adapt quickly under pressure like this, so I got it down pretty quickly. The rest of the race was me keeping my speed up by fishtailing everywhere I could, and fighting the game's urge to flip my car over on weird terrain, just by barely turning enough sometimes. Oh, by the way, did you recognize this part? Yeah, you like that epic foreshadowing from the beginning of the video? And is so low to the ground that on certain surfaces it will just straight up flip over if you turn too much. I'm so awesome and cool and such a good script writer and totally not just lazy and reusing footage everywhere I can. There's not too much else to talk about with this race besides how close the ending was. It was pretty damn close. I thought that once my car downshifted that it was just over, but I guess something happened to Savo and the other racers because I still managed to clutch him in the end. Other than that, this race was kinda just a bunch of luck.
I've died twice before and I still breathe. This is sort of the same. Okay, maybe you win and relieve me of this burden. To Los Angeles!
Check airspeed.
Los Angeles, how I've missed you, but this is not how I wanted to return to you. Savo Stage 5 is in the rain. You don't need me to tell you again how bad the rain is, but I will anyways. It's bad. And it's another unordered race. Thankfully for me, this one didn't require me to deviate from my normal route, and all I had to do was grind out attempts until I managed to beat it. Would you believe me if I told you that this one was kind of easy? Maybe it's just because I fishtailed with nothing but the Emu for a month straight. Or maybe it's because Savo sucks at driving in Los Angeles. Maybe it's just that LA was designed for the Emu to work well in. It actually kind of makes sense why this race was probably the easiest out of all the Savo races so far. But it's still kind of weird though. I'd even go as far as saying that Nico had harder races than this one. Not any further though, because then I'd just be lying. Nothing special to talk about with this race, honestly. I wish I had more to say, but Savo 5 was just kind of easy compared to the rest of his races. The ultimate test. The final race. 6 minutes of pain, where one too many misplays could send you back to the start and waste a ton of your time. There's only one thing left to do at this point. Let's not waste more of our time. I had done it. All 6 of Savo's races, all of the racers, every single city, all of them, had been conquered by a finely tuned vehicle. Beginning of the race here was actually the hardest part, due to all the verticality and the traffic you can't see. Other than that, the rest of the race is just a test of consistency. Thankfully, consistency is kind of my specialty. Unless I'm using the Tokyo Cop, but shut up. This race was on the more difficult end, but that's to be expected from the last race in the game, don't you think? But in the end, I still beat it. This means we could finally answer the question from the start of this video. You can beat the entire career mode of Midnight Club 2 in the Emu. I never expected to come this far. Like I mentioned earlier, I thought Zen would be the run killer. And I never thought I would ever make it to Savo, let alone beat every one of his races. Well, at least now, I'm free of this burden.
At last, I'm free of this rubbish. You want my car, my title, have a nice life, goodbye. Can I get out of here now?
So, now that I've beaten the career mode, it's time for circuit races, right? Hell no, I'm not touching those with a 30-foot pole. Especially the Paris ones, they scare the hell out of me. Circuit races will get their own video if I ever decide to do all of them, as the only ones I've complete so far are the LA ones and Bullet Train. I don't know why I did Bullet Train, I was just bored one day, I guess. Well, now that it's all over, what have we learned? Well, for starters, we learned that I've been godlike since day 1. I knew I could do this ever since I beat Dice in this crap. I'm the world's best player ever. Okay, in all seriousness, what have we learned from all this? What was the point of me going through torture in the form of a racing game challenge run? Well, I'm not entirely sure myself. I don't really know why I started this challenge. I didn't do it for content, as I actually had to redo this entire challenge months later to get the footage. This was originally just a personal challenge I started one day, and I only originally recorded the Savo races. What I think we can all learn from this, though, is a very important message.
Never give up!